Welcome. In front of me I have the new Zenfone 10 and I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview. Now right off the bat I do want to kind of point out this box seemed better days probably. Looks like it's been dropped, but in any case hopefully the phone is okay inside. So let's get straight into there. Okay, here we will have a case, thank you ASUS, and paperwork, so let's eat that to the side. The case is plastic. Under here we got our device. Pretty nice looking. Now, interestingly enough, we do have a charger, Type C, and this is, does it actually say anywhere? So let me just read it off this little charger. So this is a 30-watt charger and a Type C to Type C charging cable. Now that the phone is on, we can kind of see the display, though not too great. Let me just connect to it. You can go to the next page, and I'm gonna just, yep, I'm sure I'm not 16. So let's start off with the display. This is a 6. This is a 5.92 inch display, almost 6. 1080p by 2400 resolution. Let's continue the setup right here. And it is a Super AMOLED display, 144 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 Plus certified, and a peak brightness of 1100 nits. So it can get decently bright. It's nothing like super bright compared to, for instance, Samsung's new Fold, which will have 1700 nits, or iPhone's almost, I think, 2000 nit brightness. So yeah, these can get much brighter than the Zenfone, but in any case, this is still a decent enough brightness, I would argue. Now continuing, it is a it has 84.8% screen to body ratio and comes with 445 pixels per inch. Now, as you can probably obviously see, this is a really small display. Can I just get through it? Thank you. Really small display, but it does pack a bit of a punch under it. So, okay, Jesus, got it. Cool. Continue. And there we go. So we finally have our home screen. Now I'm going to quickly turn off the dark theme so we can see the actual bezels of the display. So display. Where the heck is the dark mode here? No. No. There we go. So now we can see the actual bezels much clearer. Anyway, so continuing on with the device, like I mentioned, it packs a bit of a punch under here. So this device comes with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, so the newest flagship processor that you can get. Also runs on Android 13, so I believe this is the newest Android right now that I can get. Comes with, at the very base, 128 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM. That is like the lowest you can get it. UFS 4.0, which I think this is new storage type, or maybe Samsung had it already. I'm not exactly sure. I don't recall precisely, but obviously it's going to be one of the better ones you can get in terms of like read and write speeds onto this storage. Now, that being said, on the very highest end of this device, you can get 0.5 terabyte and 16 gigs of RAM. Obviously, this will cost you significantly more than the lowest end. Continuing on to the cameras, we have a dual camera setup at the back, and I really appreciate that ASUS decided to just stick with 2 cameras and not include like a crap camera, like 2 megapixel depth sensor or some crap like this. So the main sensor is a 50 megapixel wide sensor, then we got a 13 megapixel ultra wide. And with those cameras you can shoot at 8K 24 frames, 4K 30 or 60, and obviously so on with lower resolutions. And then at the front we have a 32 megapixel selfie camera, wide angle, and you can shoot at 1080p 30 frames right here. So that's basically all for the cameras. Now, quickly going into the build quality right here, we do have, let me quickly find it. So we have obviously glass front, then aluminum frame, which you can see. So this is an actual aluminum, really nicely designed. I do like the aesthetics of it. And then the back, this seems to be plastic, and yep, that's a plastic back. It kind of takes away from the design aesthetic, though it doesn't really feel like super bad, I would argue. There are much worse plastic backs, so this one has some like texture to it, so it makes it look a little bit better. Also, because it is kind of plastic and textured, as you can see, it basically has no fingerprint prints at the back, which for some people that's a pretty nice benefit to have. And we do have the Zenfone logo right here, which I do actually like how it looks like. It's very minimalistic, appealing to the eye. Now, continuing on, a couple things that are worth mentioning. Fingerprint sensor is on the side as a power button. We also have a couple of markings, Zen Touch, power button. Let me see if I can just, there we go, you can see it now. Volume rockers, then at the top, surprisingly enough, on this tiny device, we have a headphone jack. Apparently, ASUS can still manage to fit a full-sized headphone jack on a device that is smaller than almost anything else on the market and still packs as much performance as any other device. Though, arguably, it is a little bit on a thicker side compared to other phones, I think. Now, on the left side, we have just nothing apart from like these antennas right here. And then at the bottom, we have our SIM tray. Now, I believe this is just a SIM tray. It doesn't double as SD tray, but I'm going to check it out. Yep, so this is just a SIM tray. We have our charging port, microphone, and a speaker grill. And that's about all we have for this device. Now, last thing that I'll touch upon is the price. So this device comes at about $700, something along those lines, give or take. And for the price, you basically get a flagship device in a small form factor. So obviously, if you're looking for a really small device that can basically perform as well as any other huge, like 7-inch phones like the S23 Ultras and stuff like that, this phone should be able to keep up with them. It runs on the same processor as the S23 Ultra. And the only difference is, it's, instead of having like a 7-inch display, has a 5.9 inch with very minimal bezels. So it's obviously significantly smaller than almost any device. And just to kind of give you a comparison to other phones, like the Fold, when it's closed, at least in terms of the footprint, is relatively small, I would argue. It is tall, and as you can see, it's still shorter. In terms of the width, it's about just a tiny bit wider. But this is just like we're talking about a couple millimeters. So it is a relatively small device in general. And if you're looking for such a phone, obviously this probably will be one of the only options that you can go for. The other ones being things like the Xiaomi 12, I think, or 12 Lite or 13 Lite. These devices were also relatively small, but in terms of performance, obviously this device packs way more power under the hood compared to other devices, especially small devices. So there is not much competition here in the small form factor phone kind of era. So anyway, just putting on the case as a last little thing. There we go, clips on nicely. Basically doesn't add almost any kind of girth to the device, so that's also pretty nice, I would argue. And yeah, that's it. So anyway, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.